So everything happens for a reason. Which brings me on to our next speaker with Everything Happens for a Reason. Not only do I just love his hat so much, every time I see him, I love hats, but he wears amazing hats. This gentleman, Carlyle, was actually on one of the special edition hit talks on the British School of Etiquette. And he just had this energy around him. He had this purpose, he had this vision, and you could see that he really does want to make a difference in the world. And when you see they want to make a difference in the world, that's great, but when you actually feel it, then that's magic. So thank you again for being back with us, and I now give you your 8 minutes. I lost my words then, so Carlyle, I now give you your 8 minutes.
Vikki, thank you so much. So for everyone to understand the points that I'm going to share, so I've got about 6 takeaways that I want to leave you with. But to give you context, I need to tell you about the day that cinema changed my life forever. In a moment of just randomness, a movie scene at a very young age gave me an indication of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And the scene was of a speaker going through his journey of self-actualization, helping and inspiring other people around him. Now, the scene that followed that made me want to literally kill myself. And I'll give you a little bit more context for that as we go on. For all of this to make sense, I need to tell you about 3 pivotal points in my life. Born in the West Indies, schooling in Jamaica, up to about 12, I relocated to West Africa. Now, that move in itself was deeply traumatic because not only were we leaving the familiarity and the comforts of friends, family, and a very stable, comfortable life in Jamaica, I'm now finding myself in a foreign country. My mother is just remarried to someone that I don't yet have the words to articulate the red flags that I'm seeing. That said, not only did we arrive in this foreign country in the heart of West Africa, Nigeria to be specific, we now discover that the gentleman who was also from the West Indies, who'd said that he had certain things in order, let's just say there was a degree of misrepresentation of those facts. Now, to complicate things even further, now that my mother is going to be the one who was supposedly, and I feel this was probably part of his master plan. He was his golden goose, so to speak. Now, that meant she had to be not only financially responsible for us, but to take on the burden of trying to buy a house, trying to get everything settled, and then looking after this grown man. Now, why this is so relevant is 3 months after our arrival, we then discover, as if things couldn't get any worse, that the people that she'd left in charge of her interests in Jamaica started to liquidate everything and literally sell everything that wasn't nailed down. So you can imagine we're in a foreign land, don't know the language, don't know the culture, and we're quickly running out of money. And this was the first day where I realized that in order to become something else, you literally have to kill off everything that you think you already are and everything you've become to that point. I had to shed quite quickly the notion of being this little boy looked after and almost step into that almost male role of not only supporting my mother, but also pushing down some of the emotions that I was going through at that particular point in time, being completely uprooted into a foreign country. Now, God being so good, my mother is an absolute soldier. We started over and she got an opportunity to work for a very large private educational institute, very prominent, and things really turned around. So much so that the point where she said, should we go back home or should we stay? I was so jubilant that at 12, I had the courage to say, let's stay and venture into the unknown. Now, the next point of the story comes when only 5 years down the line, when in a very, very simple way, she just casually said to me one day, would you rather go to school in England to finish university, or do you want to stay here in Lagos and I'll buy you a nice car so you can drive around and go to university here? I said, well, choice is very simple. You see, my plan was always to go to England and to follow in my father's footsteps, be a lawyer, be a better son, be a better father and a man than he was. And that was because I was stuck living in the image or the perception of I had to correct or right the wrongs that I think that he did to us and correct that story. Now, this plan all fell apart the day when I got the rejection letter from his alma mater. So suddenly, again, I'm realizing I now have to find my own way at 18. Like, this wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't supposed to happen. Now, the final piece of this puzzle that draws all of this together is after finding my own way, finding my own career, starting my own businesses, I then find myself, after putting 10 years into a job that I thought I loved, I'd been climbing the ladder leaning against the wrong wall. Now, not only was this going to be my ultimate test, this meant that everything that I had worked for, everything that I thought that I was, all of the approval of friends and family, I was now going to have to torch all of that to actually start to pursue my dream. Now, in doing this, what I then discovered was I was more afraid of the process and the pain that I perhaps thought I was going to experience, of the rejection or the opinions of other people. But the fact of the matter is, the world kept spinning. I had to make the difficult decision of doing away with certain friendships, taking certain financial steps that in my eyes were going to put me backwards. And I literally had to blow up the train set that I'd spent the past 10 years to build. So I say all of this to say this, that having started my own coaching business and working with all types of people from all around the world, the main takeaways I want you to be left with tonight are this. Ask yourself, whose opinion of you are you listening to? And is it helping or hindering you? What do you actually want is the second thing. What do you want most in life? And what do you want written on your tombstone when you leave? Here lies such and such that did ... 3, think about the skills that you have and the skills that you need. And 4, just take a leap. Just start. No matter how small, just start. Execute, 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 and just keep turning up. Finally, don't stop. When in doubt, continue to have faith and just persevere. 5th, God has a plan for you, and don't ever doubt that you are not made intentionally and purposefully. Enjoy where you are now and enjoy the journey to come. My name is Carlyle Latty, and thank you so much for your time.
And thank you so much, sir, for your time and your wisdom.
Vikki.
And what? Can you hear me? Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. So I've just said that twice. So that means I want to give you thanks for your time and wisdom twice. What would I like written on my tombstone? Oh, I wonder what. I think, first of all, my favorite word is amazing. So I'd like maybe that on my tombstone. And maybe I'd have hope, inspiration, and transformation on my tombstone. I'm thinking, what do you think? So thank you for